the middle of Bear Wood, a 7.5-acre enclosure where bears, wolves, wolverines, and lynxes roam, the cameras picked up a strange four-legged creature. It had what looked like wings and horns. Obviously, none of the zoo's animals matched it. And for weeks, people had been saying something strange was moving between the trees. Even the animals seemed spooked. Wolves and wolverines don't usually pay much attention to the usual wildlife like deer, but this time they did. They seemed spooked by something. Well, they still have no idea what this creature was. Some people think it's just a deer caught in like a weird angle, maybe with motion blur making the ears look kind of like wings, but others think maybe Bristol now has its own local legend. Well, it's not often we get news about Nessie, but here we are. Just back in January, something strange showed up on one of the live webcams overlooking Loch Ness. A regular visitor named Andy caught it moving near the shore, heading towards Sherry Island, then turning around and slipping back out into deeper water before vanishing. He said it was cruising along for a few minutes between 4:41 and 4:48 in the afternoon. Andy's been coming to Loch Ness since the late 80s. He's familiar with the environment and normal wildlife around the loch, but this was something else. The group that runs the webcam, Loch Ness Exploration, said the footage was worth sharing because it wasn't just another random wave or boat ripple. Whatever the thing was, it looked pretty big, and this isn't the first time. In August of 2023, an Irish Nessie fan named Owen O'Fadigan spotted something on a webcam as well. He described seeing a large black hump that popped up, moved across the water, then dipped back under as a boat got close. Owen said fish do not have wakes. The movement was uncharacteristic of a seal or an otter. Only the Loch Ness Monster is the obvious choice. What you're looking at here is a sonar image taken at Loch Ness. On September 22nd, 2024, a skipper named Sean Sloggy was out on Loch Ness doing his usual rounds when something strange popped up on his sonar screen. Sean's been working these waters for years, but he's never seen anything quite like this. The strangeness of it was chilling. It's the sort of thing that leaves you speechless, he said. Sean was with maritime pilot Liam Mackenzie that day, just getting ready for another boat to arrive, when the sonar suddenly lit up. There was a massive object sitting about 320 feet down. Sean's used to spotting all kinds of weird fish and shapes on sonar, but this thing was massive. The shape looked long and stretched out, and Sean noticed there were what seemed like air pockets inside, something you wouldn't normally see with regular fish or logs even. They tried to circle back and find it again, but whatever it was had completely disappeared. We're not sonar experts, but I've never seen anything like it, Sean went on to say. In October of 2015, a man named Dave Black was driving near a golf course in Little Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey, when he saw something that looked like a deer or maybe a llama walking along, but then it suddenly sprouted wings and flew off into the trees. Dave managed to snap a quick blurry photo on his phone though, and sure enough, there was this dark creature with big wings and what looked like hooves dangling beneath it. Dave had no idea what he was looking at. And when news of the photo came out, he stuck to his story, insisting that he was not trying to mess with anyone, that he really saw it and had no explanation. The photo blew up online and got everyone in New Jersey talking about the Jersey Devil again, a legendary winged creature that's supposedly haunted the Pine Barrens since the 1700s. Back in November of 2007, a Fresno homeowner known only as Jose to the media got spooked by his dogs barking at night, and he checked his security camera footage. He couldn't believe what he was looking at. The video shows this tall, skinny white figure gliding across his lawn, almost like living pants. There's no arms or torso, it's just long legs carrying a rounded quote-unquote head on top. Jose was pretty freaked. He woke his brother, saved the clip by pointing a camcorder at his monitor because the system would overwrite the footage. The story blew up after he shared it with Univision, and paranormal investigators also got involved. Even the History Channel covered it as part of fact or faked paranormal files and called it unexplainable. Then in 2011, similar footage was captured at Yosemite National Park showing two of these things together, one smaller, one larger. No one's ever figured out what they were. They're simply known as Fresno Nightcrawlers. In February of 2012, farmer Pyotr Cherov, I don't know if I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but I couldn't find a video of anyone pronouncing it online. Well, anyway, he's an elderly farmer. He set up a camera by a river feeding Lake Lagerflot in East Iceland. He ended up with some pretty crazy footage that's gone on to become the best possible video evidence of the mythical Icelandic lake monster known as the Langerflot worm. The video shows what looks like a serpentine creature drifting just under the icy water, maybe 30 to 90 feet long. The clip went viral around the world, even prompting a local panel to vote 7-6 that it was real and awarded him with a small cash prize. The Langerflot worm's been part of Icelandic folklore since the 14th century. Said to be this massive lake monster, sometimes said to be longer than a football field. In August of 2023, photographer Shay Kelly dropped a set of images she'd been holding on to since 2018. She and her husband had been having lunch at an inn on Loch Ness when she caught something gliding through the water about 200 meters offshore. Shay said it was moving, quote, right to left at a steady speed, spinning and rolling at times. We never saw a head or neck. After a couple minutes, it just disappeared and we never saw it again, end quote. At first, she thought it might be otters or a seal, but it never came up for air again and it just kept moving like a serpent, she continued. Steve Feltham, a well-known Nessie hunter who's been at this for over 30 years, called the photos the most exciting surface shots in decades, saying they are the most compelling surface images of the phenomenon. They still defy explanation. The images show two rounded humps rolling through the water. There's no obvious head or neck, but it definitely doesn't look like otters or divers. Whatever this really was, Nessie or a massive eel, these are definitely some of the clearest and most intriguing Nessie photos possibly ever. In mid-2023, farmers near Oruro, Bolivia started spotting something weird roaming their fields. One drone video caught this hunched, dark figure standing upright in a crop field. Carlos Flores, who first spotted it in the footage, said, "It is strange. It looks like a dog, but it has a hump further back. Looking at the images, it has the same position as the chupacabra." Well, this creepy drone footage seemed to trigger fears that the legendary goat sucker had struck again, and a lot of that had to do with the timing of this. Farmers in the area had been finding dead livestock drained of their BLOOD. Some of them took to installing floodlights around their ranches, hoping to either scare it off or actually catch it on camera. The footage itself is not super clear. I mean, it's taken from very far away, but you can definitely see this dark, hunched shape in the center of the frame, motionless at first, then shifting, almost like it realizes the drone is watching and scurries away. Imagine strolling on a Long Island beach and finding this thing washed up on the shore. Well, in July of 2008, a woman named Jenna Hewitt and two friends were walking along Ditch Plains Beach in Montauk when they came across this bloated, hairless corpse with a weird beak-like snout and long limbs. Jenna's friend Christina snapped the infamous photo, and the image blew up online within days. People couldn't figure out what it was. Some thought it was some kind of deformed raccoon, maybe a sea turtle without its shell, and of course, some people immediately jumped to secret government experiments. That's because this was pretty close to the old Plum Island Animal Disease Center. Some people were saying that maybe it escaped from some shady lab over there. No one ever officially confirmed what it was. To this day, people still argue about whether it was just a decomposed raccoon or maybe something else. Apparently, this next piece of footage was taken somewhere in Bolivia on April 20th of 2020. The video starts off pretty normal. You see a nice view of the trees, you hear birds in the background, but then you notice it. There's something hovering in the sky. It's not a bird, there's no flapping of wings, plus it's way too big to be a bird anyway. It's certainly not a plane. The object seems to just drift downward, slowly making its way toward the trees before finally vanishing into the tree line. Now, what could it be? A drone? Well, the object is far away, but still pretty easy to make out. This would have to be a pretty sizable drone, right? Well, I don't know. What you're looking at here is well, I don't really know what the hell this thing is, and neither does the uploader. Redditor J Turley85 uploaded the footage, writing, "My wife's coworker went out hunting this past weekend. They apparently took a pack of dogs out with them. While in the mountains, two of the dogs ran off. They chased them and found them both ripped apart after some searching. While trying to look for whatever caused it, they found this and recorded it through their scope. I tried to upscale the video for clarity, but this was the best I could get. Anyone know what this could be? The arms look like they have hair coming off it, and they look extremely long and skinny. At first I thought it could be another hunter, but I can't be sure. And yeah, I don't know, it could maybe be a hunter with a sheet over their head for like camouflage or something, but along with the story about all the dogs having been ripped apart, definitely makes whatever this thing is a lot stranger, and I don't like how it moves. What you're looking at here is said to be footage of a creature known as the Lake Van Monster, something that's been spotted in this lake in eastern Turkey. The first sighting goes way back to 1889, but it really grabbed headlines between 1995 and 1997 when more and more people started reporting on it. Over 1,000 people claim they've seen it. In 1997, a university assistant named Unal Kozak even filmed what he claimed was the creature, and the footage still stirs up arguments to this day. Some folks swear they see a beak in the footage, others think he just grabbed a clip of a swimming elephant. So if anyone can find a longer clip of a swimming elephant that matches up with this video, something that would have been available in 1997, please share in the comments. Maybe we can solve this together. Until then though, this one is gonna remain a mystery. Alright, this next video is really interesting because people can't really seem to decide if they think it's a creature or some type of unidentified flying object. The clip was posted to YouTube by Montana Mullet Militia, who wrote in the description, "Was out coyote hunting last night and caught this on film. It was super bizarre, 37 degrees outside, white hot mode." So this was captured on a thermal camera. Those little white specks are believed to be coyotes, with their bright colors showing that they're warm compared to their environment. The darker figure or object, first appearing to kind of run, then later seeing to fly, shows up colder than everything else around it, which is why it looks dark in the footage. As for what the hell this thing is, well, your guess is as good as mine. This photo was taken back in 1934 by a Swiss photographer named Balkan. Claimed he saw something strange near a log, some kind of creature that didn't look like anything he'd seen before, so he took a photo of it, and the picture kicked up quite a bit of interest. It even inspired a German magazine to sponsor a full-blown expedition to track down the creature. But like a lot of cryptid hunts, the trip was a bust, and people kinda moved on. But there have still been some strange sightings since. What exactly is this thing? Well, it's known as the Tatzelwurm, a legendary beast from alpine folklore. It's said to have been haunting the mountains of Europe for centuries. Descriptions vary, but most say it looks like a chunky, cat-faced reptile, but with no back legs. Sometimes doesn't even have any at all, a bit more snake-like. Sightings have been reported all over the Alps, from Switzerland and Austria to parts of Germany and northern Italy. And it goes by a bunch of different names depending on where you are. Names which I'm gonna pronounce perfectly: Stollenworm, Springworm, and Tatzelwurm, just to name a few. Even in modern times, people still claim to see it. So was the Tatzelwurm just a tall tale, or did this photographer really capture something strange slithering through the Alps? Alright, this next one, nope, absolutely not. Someone's home security camera picked up what can only be described as pure nightmare fuel. There's this pale, creepy looking creature crouched in the bushes outside their house, just staring off into the distance, looking around. Glowing eyes, long limbs, totally bald. And when it stands up, it's tall, uncomfortably tall. People in the comments have been saying it looks like a Slender Man or a rake. There's also something else going on here. Some viewers pointed out it almost looks like it's wearing a black cloak or something. A cloaked, glowing-eyed rake demon thing. Again, that's a yikes for me. The face is the worst part. It's just blank. There's no mouth, no nose, nothing but those eerie glowing eyes. If I saw this outside my house, I would be gone. Keep the house. Take the furniture, I don't care. What do you think this thing was though? An alien, a demon, a hoax? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. This video was taken by a fishing guide in Saskatchewan who spotted this massive wolf near his lodge. And I mean prehistorically massive, as if you need me to tell you that. Just look at it. The man spotted it from his window and decided to grab his camera. He stepped outside to get a better shot and the wolf backed off. but then it came back, and that's when his dog Trigger decided to chase after the thing. Waited for Trigger to turn her back, and in a blink grabbed her by the hindquarters and tossed her in the air like a rag doll. That happens off camera because the guy rightly stopped filming and, went to save his dog. Luckily, the guy's buddy came out running with a shotgun, firing it into the air to break up the fight, and the wolf ran off. But not for long. It was bold enough to come back a couple more times. Luckily, there's no more trouble and the dog was okay aside from a few cuts. But things would have gone way worse if they hadn't scared the thing off in time. So this next clip comes from a Reddit user with the unforgettable name Panty Dinner 2003. The clip was captured in Louisiana. Starts off pretty normal. A couple guys are filming a field, catching some deer in the shot, along with a few dark shapes that look like dogs. So far, all good, but there's something that steps out of the trees, and it is not normal. This thing comes charging out of the woods, and it kind of looks like it's galloping, but it's definitely not a horse, and it sure isn't human either. It's got these long, creepy arms and seems to be running on all fours, but not in the way your typical four-legged animals do. This thing is off. Now, at first, I wasn't totally buying the laughter behind the camera, gotta be honest. I thought, all right, maybe this is staged, but I don't know. It could also be that nervous laughter, the kind people do when they're freaked out and just don't know how to process what they're seeing. What do you think? Weird animal? Skinwalker? Let me know which theory you're going with down in the comments. This next video comes out of Mexico. Two men came out to their back porch to find an owl acting very strangely. So strangely, in fact, that they started to wonder if it was a shape-shifting witch or a bruja. A bruja is usually seen as a woman who uses magic, sometimes for good, sometimes for darker stuff. Some are said to cast curses and shapeshift. They show up a lot in ghost stories and creepy legends, especially in rural areas in Mexico. In some tales, a bruja might appear as an old woman, a mysterious animal, or a shadowy figure flying through the night. Now, the guys filming were kind of jokingly talking to this owl, asking if it was a bruja, but man, if the sun was down and you were alone and you saw this, I don't think you'd be asking that question in jest. I just do not like how this owl is moving, the way it starts stretching out its neck like that. Just no. Is it a scared or injured owl, or could there be something else going on here? This video was uploaded to TikTok by Jay Hayson, who simply wrote that these girls broke into his backyard and were watching him. Seems to me they were doing a lot more than just watching. One tells him to come out here, let's have fun. The other just cranes her net back, makes all these very unsettling faces, mostly just by opening her mouth all wide. And yeah, it seems like a great idea to go out there. Now, if this video is genuine, for one, it's very creepy. Those ladies were clearly not of sound mind at the time. And two, this was a very, very bad idea on the girls' part. Don't break into people's backyards and stare at them. At best, you've scared a stranger in their own home. Worst case scenario, you get shot at and you die, especially if you're in America. Doesn't matter if this one's a guy in a costume or some kind of prank. This is the kind of thing that would make me pack up my whole life and move to a different country. The video was posted to TikTok by Fast Bites Horror, and according to the description, a traveler had stumbled across this freaky creature hiding in the shadows, perched up on a ledge, just glaring down at him. And the poor guy is so scared, he starts praying out loud. You can hear the fear in his voice. And while I may not be religious myself, if I saw this thing, I definitely would be. I'd be like, well, I guess Satan really does exist. What you're looking at here may not look like much at first glance. It's a snake. I mean, big deal, right? Well, the thing is, this is an aerial photograph taken way up in a helicopter. That snake is said to have been 50 feet long. Back in 1959, Colonel Remy van Leerde, an experienced Belgian World War II fighter pilot, was flying a helicopter over the Congo. As he's flying over the jungle in the Katanga region, he spots something moving down below. He claimed it was a massive snake, and it would have had to be for it to catch his eye way up in a chopper.
Then I was already flying for 25 years, so I have a very good experience of measuring things. And I would say the snake I saw there was close to 50 foot.
The snake had green and brown scales, and a head that was apparently 3 feet long and 2 feet wide. You could fit a grown man in its mouth. And as he flew in closer, the snake rose up off the ground, about 10 feet into the air, like it was trying to strike at the chopper. Van Lierde circled around a few times so someone else on board could snap a photo of it. Of course, skeptics have their doubts, but he stuck to his story up until his death in 1990. But what do you think he saw out there in the jungle? A new species, a leftover from the dinosaur age, or was the whole story a hoax? Let me know what you think in the comments. This next story takes us deep into the heart of Texas, a little rural spot called Davina out in Fayette County. Michael Demmel captured something really strange on a hunting camera on his property. He has a bunch of these cameras set up, using them to track wildlife like coyotes, bobcats, and raccoons. These motion sensor cameras take about 100 pictures a day, and Michael goes through them every single day. He's been doing this for 10 years, so when he says something looks off, that's really saying something. Well, one night he captured whatever this thing was. He said he thought it was a monkey at first, and to be fair, in the blurry photo it kinda does look like one. Of course, that would still be very, very strange. There are no monkeys just running around in Texas unless one escaped from a zoo, and no, there were no monkey jailbreaks reported. So he shows the image to some friends, tries to get some answers, and the photo eventually hits the local news. Some say the thing looks a lot like a chupacabra, the legendary cryptid that's been blamed for livestock deaths for decades. Others think it has a bit of an alien or skinwalker kind of vibe. Now, the creature's about as big as a medium-sized dog, but the body shape, the face, totally off. Michael said, "In the 10 years I've been reviewing my cameras, I have never encountered anything like it." Even the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department got involved. They looked at the photo but ruled out any normal animal, saying it didn't look like a baby deer or anything they could easily identify. I always liked to imagine Spider-Man was real when I was a kid. Kinda always hoped I'd see him swinging around up there one day. Well, I would have been thrilled to see this next video. This footage was captured at the pedestrian bridge in Kiev, not where you'd be expecting to spot the web slinger, but superheroes do get around. Now clearly this is a person crawling under the bridge, but even so, why? I mean, this is pretty dangerous. That water down below does not look very deep. Unless this person has actual web slinging abilities, if they fall, they're getting hurt or worse. So who is this person? Is it just a thrill seeker? Are they out of their mind? Or is there a chance that this isn't even a person at all and that the camera person caught something otherworldly crawling under that bridge? This piece of footage was uploaded to Reddit by user KeyProposal8529. Some sort of strange creature was peering out at them from the woods. They wrote, "Hello all, I live near the Trail of Tears in Missouri. As I got home one night I saw this thing in the woods by my house. From where it was standing, it has to be tall because there's a ditch right below where it stands. Any ideas? I'm terrified. Yes, I stayed in my car until I got the balls to run inside my house." Now, I have no idea what this thing could be. It's hard to make out, but if the Redditor is telling the truth here, then this is a pretty creepy piece of footage because they pass by this area constantly. I mean, it's right outside their home. They know when something is out of place. A Reddit user out in the Midwest has been spotting a strange creature in their neighborhood. First, they posted these images along with a caption reading, "These are photos taken in the Midwest from an iPhone at night. The cryptid in question randomly appears in the same spot. Once a person begins to approach, it will vanish. It was seen again a few weeks ago and moved at an incredible speed across a few backyards. A local dog will bark at the spot that it appears in, even when it's not there. Trail cams will be set up soon. Please give me some ideas as to what it could be." The Redditor also posted an update with a video attached. This time, we can supposedly hear whatever this strange creature is. They wrote in the description, "We've got a video of the cryptid making what sounds like a scream. My friend was trying to find where it was standing but couldn't see it. Once the video ended, it appeared again in his yard but vanished as he went to get his phone again." This video was uploaded to YouTube by Paranormal Planet, who'd been exploring an ice cave in Hallstatt, Austria. Most of the video is pretty standard touristy type footage of the cave until we get to the end and see whatever this is. That is a pretty freaky looking creature. Now, my first thought was like, I don't know, maybe it's a frog or something, but according to the uploader, this thing was the size of a large man, and they were also standing far enough away that they wouldn't have picked it up in this kind of detail if it was something as small as a frog. So if that's to be believed, then this is a pretty strange piece of footage, and honestly, the more I do look at it, the less frog-like this thing really looks. I mean, frogs don't really articulate like this, and they don't usually chill in ice caves either. And the way it bends its limbs almost looks like how a human would climb, except it's way too long and spindly to be a person. So I don't know what this is. Let me know your thoughts down below. This next video was posted to Facebook by a man named Clay Shiner. He was filming the woods one evening because he spotted something moving just behind the tree line. Turns out, it was not a bear. The thing that really struck me about this video is how long this thing's arms are. At first it just looks like, you know, a typical formless black shape hiding in the trees like so many Sasquatch videos you see. But when it steps forward a bit and stretches its arms out to the sides, it's like, damn, those are long, very ape-like and very creepy. Reddit user Adjacent Gunman posted this image with the caption, "Over a year ago, this picture was taken by a trail cam back on my property. This version has been lightened. It's something holding a dead coyote by the throat, and it stands about 7.5 to 8 feet tall." He also posted an unedited version of the image. He said he based the thing's height off of where its eyes are compared to his cabin. Now, this thing is hard to make out, but there's definitely something there. Could it be a bear standing on its hind legs? Possibly, but the way it's holding its prey, it looks almost humanoid. But I don't know, maybe that's just my wishful thinking. I wholeheartedly want Bigfoot to be real. Uploaded to the YouTube channel Hola Bible in 2011, this video really creeped a lot of people out. The uploader said he'd been hearing some strange sounds coming from the forest behind his home in Oregon. Keep in mind, he lived 6 miles from the nearest city. He went out to investigate with a night vision camera. Well, he didn't get very far before he came across the source of these strange noises. Crouching in some brush was some sort of odd-looking, hairless creature. He zooms into the thing a bit, trying to make out what the hell it is, and then this happens. So it looks like Gollum was lurking around this guy's woods, or an alien, or a rake. It looks like a lot of things, all of them creepy, none of which you'd want skulking around in your backyard. I just hope this dude moved. And finally, I have another piece of Bigfoot footage for you. This video comes out of Russia, and in it, we see some folks filming some woods near their property. They'd spotted something sprinting through the trees, and what they see is pretty shocking. What's really cool about this video is how the thing moves. How many supposed Bigfoot videos do you see where it's just this figure like lumbering through the trees, like a dude in a costume, unsure of their footing? You kind of see them trying to keep their balance. Well, that is not the case here. This thing is sprinting at high speed and leaping across the ground as if it's an animal that is very familiar with its environment. That's why this has become such a well-known clip in the Sasquatch community, which no, I'm not a part of, but my interest is still very much there.
Exploring woodland trails in the dead of night is not for the faint of heart, especially when you come across anomalies that your brain simply cannot make sense of. We know what a dog looks like, and we know what a pig looks like, but what happens when the two of them are combined together? The person who uploaded this seemed to have the same questions, keeping a close following on the strange animal that you see in the video. What's striking about this weird creature is that it almost looks as if two of its body parts do not belong together. Its head is much bigger than the rest of its smaller body, and the coloration of its fur does not match at all. There is a clear stripe that goes down its head, but stops immediately at its neck. And that's extremely unusual. This spliced creature seems to also carry its prey with ease, not tiring in the slightest despite its size comparison. If you come across its path, would you also be brave enough to follow it? At least with animal-like anomalies, our brains can easily categorize the creature as some sort of species that maybe hadn't been discovered yet until that very day. But what if it was a supernatural monster that looked eerily similar to a human? Taking a nighttime ride on their bikes, a group of guys come across this eerie person-like form, except they are completely bare from head to toe, without even a speck of hair on their head. This is not at all like a normal thing to come across in an open area. I'm getting extremely uncanny valley vibes the longer I look at this thing. The way it carries its arms and how it walks. And not to mention the slow turnaround it does when it's approached by the bikers. Extremely bold of them, might I add. It almost unironically reminds me of a Ken doll, completely stripped of everything that remotely resembles a normal human being. Something is just not right about this video. And like the two bikers in the beginning of the video, you will not catch me sticking around to find out what that thing is. There is something magical and almost fairy-like about wanting to walk around in the woods in a delicate nightgown and maybe some braids in my hair and flowers. But in the daytime, not in an absolute pitch black forest where I can't even see 5 feet in front of me. Environment and atmosphere is everything when it comes to photography, and this trail cam photo definitely nailed the taking of Deborah Logan look. As you can see, this still image shows what may appear to be an older woman walking through the woods at night. I say older because of the vintage nightgown, which I totally don't own myself. The owner of this trail cam is unknown, and I think that makes it all the more scary. Where did it come from? Who is this strange woman? And will we ever find out why she's out in the woods by herself? All I know is I hope she's alright. Having the safety of a car when traveling alone at night definitely brings me more comfort and ease knowing that there is at least some sort of barrier between me and whatever may be out there lurking within the darkness. An account named Creepy Outdoors on TikTok uploaded this video online, showing what appears to be a solo hiker trying to enjoy a peaceful night alone out in a forest trail. Now, I'm not the one to judge, but you should always make sure to have someone with you when you're being this brave. Throughout his journey, the man felt off and decided to end his journey early. However, finally making it back into that safe barrier of his car, he started to hear a strange knocking coming from the back window. This happens multiple times, and the second time sounding more urgent and slightly aggressive than the first. Finally being taken out of freeze mode, the hiker goes to investigate, only to find something he truly wishes he didn't see. A handprint is outlined on the back window, only it wasn't a human, as he lightly outlines with his finger of its rough shape. Thankfully, the TikToker is safe and nothing else came out of this encounter. But still, what could have possibly been knocking that much to get his attention? Especially if it wasn't a human that was doing it. I truly do believe there are hidden secrets that our Earth holds from us, and whether it be from the government or something completely out of this world, I aim to keep an open mind about them. As my jealousy exceeds me, these two hikers were given the opportunity to catch such a sighting. Or so they claim. They appeared to be in a canyon of sorts, and seemingly had stopped in the middle of their journey because they allegedly saw a door open on the side of a hillside wall. This is actually disturbing because as they zoom in on the hill, you can actually see a door-shaped cutout within the rock. I feel if I do look at it long enough, my brain will start to make me think, or make me see it opening and closing as well. My guess is, there's gotta be something sort of secret base in there if what they're telling us is true. Now I want to go out there and find out for myself. But like always, only in the daytime, and maybe with 5 to 10 friends supporting me. Staying within the woods for a short period of time for a little hike is all fine and dandy. What if you choose to stay there for multiple nights? By yourself? This camper is much braver than me, and thankfully recorded his journey of a strange anomaly that happened to him on his solo trip. It was all fine in the beginning, until things began to happen as his journey progressed into the nighttime. Hearing some noises outside, he proceeds out of his camper with caution, only to notice the flickering of a light way off in the distance. Getting closer to it, he notices that it's a flashlight that wasn't left by him. Clearly, he wasn't alone in these woods. And I quote from him, "A flashlight just doesn't fall out of the sky." Taking a break and trying to compose himself, he steps away from the flashlight after taking it with him, only to come back and notice that it was turned on and moved from the original spot he placed it down in. You've got to be kidding me! I'd pack up and leave right after that. But clearly this guy was no quitter and proceeded to stay the night, even sleeping it off, before making it to the morning and leaving as soon as the sun came up. He was incredibly lucky nothing had happened to him, and I think it's better we never find out who or what was playing this sick joke on him, because for all we know, it could have been someone with not so great intentions. Being able to catch a real ghost on camera has and always will be one of the greatest achievements of our lifetimes. Whenever I go hiking out in the woods, I always like to record my findings, but I don't know how I feel when it comes to much older buildings. The man recording this video seemingly comes out of the brush after hiking for a bit and stumbles upon a church. I don't blame him for wanting to record, as old-style churches are incredibly beautiful and intricate in its design. However, as it pans down to get a view of the whole building, we see that there is a woman there watching him film, probably wanting to introduce himself and maybe explain why he's taking a video. It only gets all the more scarier as the woman disappears completely as he turns the corner. And I do mean completely. The only logical explanation, if you would call it that, is that she had gone through the wall itself. It was never explained who this girl was, and the hiker never sees her again after that. But if it was truly a ghost, I personally wouldn't stay any second longer in that location. Were you the type of child that liked to run on all fours? Or would you run up the stairs like a dog or a cat? I definitely was, because it was fun, silly, and harmless. Would you say the same if it came to seeing it outside in the darkness? Seeing this video definitely freezes me in place, as we clearly see what may appear to be a child or a woman standing on all fours, aggressively shaking their head in an unnatural way. If I were to come across this and saw that thing down the trail, you better believe I'm turning in the opposite direction. I am not playing here. Not to mention the way it's standing, how all its limbs are completely straightened out, not like how humans will have a natural bend in their knees or arms when placing themselves in this position. If this came running towards you at full speed, what do? I think my heart would stop, and I'd give up and let the creature take me. Maybe it'll raise me as one of their own. Who knows? Now these next group of guys are smart. You always want to stick together as a group when exploring forest trails in the dark. And even better that they have bikes. All the more easier to get away from whatever could be chasing you within the dark, confusing landscape of the woods. This one you really need to slow down and watch carefully, because you might just miss it. It all happens so fast, mainly because of the speed that these guys are tearing up. But right at the beginning, you can see our main guy with the GoPro swerve out of the way from what appears to be a figure dressed in all black, with the only clear area of skin that's shown is its hand. The creature seemed to also completely unbothered, especially when two bikes had already passed. This strikes me as very odd. Not even a single reaction coming from the anomaly. Some speculate that it was some sort of witch, which isn't a bad guess, and considering the tattered, long black clothing that they were wearing, which stereotypical cartoon witches wear. I've only heard stories of unknown creatures running across the front of a car of a dark trail, and I'm glad it's only that I've experienced. With the lack of streetlights and only being dependent on the soft glow of your headlights, who knows what you'll find out there within the comfort of a dark forest. Right as the car turns the corner, we see far off into the distance of what appears to be an incredibly large beast bolt across the street, as if they're the ones being surprised by the sudden appearance. Are you kidding me? I'm terrified of you, pal. You're the size of 6 of me stacked up. And if you look closely, were those two tails I saw? Or antennas?